Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Welcome to our journey into the timeless wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. In this sacred conversation, Sri Krishna guides Arjuna through confusion, fear, duty, and the deeper meaning of life. Through Krishna's teachings, we will explore who we truly are, why we experience suffering, what happens beyond this temporary body, and how we can develop real peace and spiritual understanding. As we study each teaching, our goal is not simply to gain knowledge, but to understand it, apply it in our daily lives, and gradually transform our consciousness. Let's begin this beautiful journey with Krishna.
All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking a brilliant piece of a 5,000-year-old text to look at a legendary warrior who's having a very relatable existential crisis. We're diving into the Bhagavad Gita, specifically verses 1.29 and 1.30. And this isn't just some ancient battlefield story. It's actually a highly detailed clinical observation of a human being completely unraveling. Let's break down the anatomy of a breakdown.
So, have you ever felt completely paralyzed by the weight of your own life choices? That overwhelming anxiety where you literally just can't move forward. It feels like a very modern problem, doesn't it? Well, our focal point today is Arjuna. He's a legendary warrior standing on the brink of a world-altering battle. But today, we're going to look right past his armor and examine him simply as a human being having a severe, debilitating breakdown.
Moving into our first section, the physical breakdown, looking at Bhagavad Gita verse 1.29.
Just listen to how this ancient text describes the sudden onset of sheer, visceral panic. The translation reads, "My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow, Gandiva, is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning." He is experiencing an absolute mutiny of his own nervous system here.
Notice how rapidly this panic escalates. It starts deep inside with this uncontrollable trembling. Then, boom, it moves to the surface. His hair is literally standing on end. By step 3, his physical capability fails completely as he loses his grip. And finally, it manifests as this intense, consuming sensation where his very skin is burning. We're looking at a total physical system failure.
I actually want to pause on that third step for a second. The slipping of his bow, the Gandiva. The text explicitly points out that this isn't just any weapon. This bow is the defining symbol of his strength and identity. The fact that he's so overwhelmed that this legendary weapon just slips right out of his hands. It shows that his very identity is quite literally slipping from his grasp.
This brings us to section 2, diagnosing the trembling, where we dive into the commentary.
So, moving past these intense physical symptoms, how does the philosophy of the text actually diagnose what's happening to him? It presents a really fascinating binary. According to the commentary, trembling and hair standing on end basically only happen for 2 reasons. You're either in a state of immense spiritual ecstasy, or you're experiencing massive fear under material conditions. And since there's no fear in true transcendental realization, well, Arjuna's fear has to belong strictly to the material side.
So the big takeaway here is that the text neutrally diagnoses his burning skin and slipping bow as a direct result of a material conception of life. The commentary states flat out that his symptoms in this situation are rooted in material fear, specifically the fear of losing his life. He's for sure not experiencing spiritual ecstasy right now. He is completely trapped in the physical dread of his current circumstances. The text uses these exact physical reactions as diagnostic proof of his underlying material attachments.
Let's move right into section 3, a reeling mind focusing on verse 1.3 CO.
Okay, so we've seen his body shut down, and now we get to watch the psychological unraveling. Verse 130 reads, "I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune." Notice that major shift. The physical inability to stand is now completely matched by this inability to even hold on to his own sense of self. Let's really look at these cognitive symptoms. He's impatient, he can't stand, and he is literally forgetting who he is. His mind is just spinning in confusion. But honestly, the most telling symptom, he envisions only painful reverses. His perspective has become so totally distorted that he actually believes even winning this battle wouldn't bring him happiness. To him, Absolutely everything looks like a cause for misery.
And that brings us to this devastating question pulled right from the text's purport. Why am I here? The commentary notes that the words used in this verse describe a state where a person sees nothing but frustration in their expectations. And when you see only frustration in what you expected from life, this is the exact question you ask yourself. Why am I here? It's pretty much the ultimate expression of existential disorientation.
Which leads us to Section 4, the root of material fear, diving into the philosophical diagnosis.
Now we've arrived at the very core of this explainer, the root cause of it all. According to the text, excessive attachment for material things puts a person in a bewildering condition of existence. The sheer panic, the forgetting of self, the reeling mind, these aren't just random occurrences. They are all direct symptoms of being way too attached to the temporary material aspects of existence.
The commentary breaks down the logic of this suffering really well. First, it acknowledges basic human nature. Everyone is interested in their own welfare, right? However, the conditioned soul forgets the supreme self, which leads to a fundamental ignorance of where true self-interest actually lies. Arjuna is suffering so intensely because he incorrectly thinks his welfare is entirely tied up in the material outcome of this battle.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate takeaway of the text commentary. What actually is real self-interest? The source material unequivocally states that your real self-interest lies in the Supreme Self, identified here as Vishnu or Krishna. It does not lie in material outcomes or winning battles or avoiding physical losses. The argument here is that forgetting this central truth leaves the conditioned soul incredibly vulnerable. When we anchor our welfare to shifting, temporary material conditions, we just open ourselves up to the exact kind of overwhelming lamentation, panic, and bodily trembling that Arjuna experienced.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, let's turn the philosophical mirror of this 5,000-year-old text back toward you. The Bhagavad Gita argues that existential dread and mental unraveling stem directly from material attachments and fundamentally misunderstanding what actually benefits us. If that is the case, the text leaves us with a pretty profound question to ponder. Where are you placing your true self-interest?